Let's go ahead with Chapter 4. Working of Institutions. So this is the Parliament of India. This is the structure of the Parliament of India. Let's first evaluate on how a major policy decision is taken. What is the process behind it? So first let's see what a basic government order means. In August 13, 1990, the Government of India issued an order. First, I'll be explaining to you a certain example which is relating to the reservation system in India. And further, we can go ahead with how a major policy decision is taken. So, in August 13, 1990, the Government of India issued an order. It was called Office Memorandum. So an order looks very familiar with any circular or notice that you may have seen in your own school. But this specific order announced a major policy decision. Let us see what it announced. It said that 27% of the vacancies in civil posts and services under the Government of India are reserved for the socially and educationally backward classes. Who are the SEBCs? They are people who belong to castes that are considered backward by the government. Initially, the reservation was only for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. It was further extended to SEBCs. So only persons who belong to backward classes were eligible for this quota of 27% jobs. Others could not compete for these jobs. You should also remember here that the 27% was just for the SEBCs. This was excluding the reservation that was there for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Let us see a picture of the government order on reservation. This is the government order. Just the reservation order what we read as a circular in the previous slide, this is how it looked. So the one highlighted here is what the main subtopic is. So let's see the decision makers and how this goes about. Who gets to decide on such orders? Such a big decision would have involved some major functionaries in our country. Let us consider a few functionaries like the president, right? He is the head of the state and he is the highest formal authority in the country. Next, we have the prime minister. He is the head of the government, exercising all governmental powers, and he takes most of the decisions in the cabinet meetings. Then we have Parliament. Parliament consists of the President and the two houses, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The Prime Minister must have the support of a majority of the Lok Sabha members. So let us see the events that led to this office memorandum. The Government of India had appointed the Second Backward Classes Commission in 1979, headed by B.P. Mandal. So this commission was also called as Mandal Commission because it was headed by B.P. Mandal. It was asked to determine the criteria to identify the socially and educationally backward classes in India and recommend steps to be taken for their advancement. Okay, so the report, after further seeing the SEBCs, the report was submitted with recommendations in 1980. One of the recommendations was that 27% of government jobs should be reserved for the SEBC. The report and recommendations were discussed in the Parliament. After this, the Lok Sabha election came up in 1989. So there was a party called the Janata Dal. So their election manifesto, like how Garibo Hatao was there for Indira Gandhi, so their election manifesto was, if voted to power, they would implement the Mandal Commission report. Further after this, the Janata Dal headed by its leader VP Singh became the Prime Minister. So let's see some of the developments that happened in the VP Singh government. The President of India, in his address to the Parliament, announced the intention to the government to implement the recommendations of the Mandal Commission. On 6th August 1990, the Union Cabinet took a formal decision to implement the recommendations. VP Singh informed the Parliament about his decision through a statement in both the Houses of Parliament. The decision of the Cabinet was sent to the DOPT. The senior officers of the department took up the minister's approval. This order invited several debates and opinions across the country. The Supreme Court and the High Courts in India settled disputes arising out of government decisions. So now that there were a lot of debates and opinions, that is when Supreme Court and High Court came into the picture. Some persons and associations appealed to the courts to declare the order invalid and stop its implementation. So combining a numerous amount of cases together, it became the Indira Sawhney and others versus Union of India case. So this is the case which is the outcome of the Mandal Commission report. In 1992, it was declared that this order of the Government of India was valid. Okay, so the government was asked to modify its order to exclude the creamy layer from the benefits of reservation. So what is the creamy layer? Creamy layer means well-to-do persons among the backward classes. So you have a level of backward classes. On that, you have a layer that are well-to-do people. It might be in terms of having a government job or an agricultural land. So these creamy layer of people were to be excluded. This was the only condition that the government was asked to modify. The disputes came to an end and this policy has been followed since then. So to this day, we still have 27% reservation for the socially and educationally backward. So let us see the debate that was regarding the order of reservation. So there were many people against this kind of thing and there were people for the concept of reservation as well. So let us see the pointers for the order. Why do we need reservation? Yes, it gives equal representation. It gives equal opportunities to the deserving candidates. Implementation of justice and human rights. They're getting an economical balance in the society. And historical injustice is being undone in this concept of reservation. And definitely you have a level playing field. Nobody is inferior, nobody is superior, everybody is on the same ground. So what were the pointers against the order of reservation? Let us see. We were encouraging casteism, separating people based on caste. Chances of creating more castes in the society. The benefit of the privileged only. And it was opposing merit. It was just a short-term relief. And it created a barrier between ethnicities. With a country like India which has many ethnicities and different cultures and traditions, this reservation concept was creating a barrier. And there was definitely social unrest. Many protests came, many opinions were given, and many more protests that led to their social unrest.